We'll call to order tonight's Auburn City Council meeting, Committee of the Whole, for August 2nd, 2022. The City Council should have the minutes from the Committee of the Whole of July the 19th. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the minutes are carried forth. Murals and Community Arts Study Committee, recommendations. Mayor Pro Tem Witten.
Yes, sir. You had, earlier in the year, you had tasked myself and Councilperson Bob Parsons to head up a study group on murals. And we have concluded our work at this time. And
Microphone, can you see if it's working?
hello, test. No, it's not.
Testing.
Yes.
Sorry, just a second. Technical
Testing.
difficulties. It just helps with the video.
Okay.
We'll put the IT guy on the spot and let him turn very red. And then we'll.
I think everybody
Yeah,
will help
let's
him
everybody
work,
watch
figure
Greg.
this out.
That's right.
That's right, put the camera on.
Give us just a second, I'm helping with it.
Scene
Now,
two.
here we go.
Oh.
Now. Everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not repeating that a third time.
For it.
Everyone has an agenda in front of them. All right. So, Councilperson Parsons and I had a study group for murals, and we had a committee that included Jana Jager from the Planning Commission and Robin Bridges from Auburn City Tourism, and we had some stakeholders that were there. Oh, also Marcus Marshall from Planning Commission. We had Parks and Rec was involved. We had representatives from Joel Collins Smith Museum. We had some representatives that came and spoke to us from the Montgomery Arts Commission. And so we had some fruitful meetings. And if I may have City Manager Crouch, if we could have Mr. Cummings come up, and I believe he has a presentation to provide for us.
He does. But Scott Cummings, our Executive Director of Development Services, is going to provide a presentation, and then I'll hand to you. Allison's going to hand me the presentations, and I'll hand them out, but we're going to have him get started.
Thank you.
So you got to put me on. I don't have a theater voice, so. Mayor, Council, thank you for the opportunity to make this presentation as a summary and recommendations of what we've compiled over the past few months. I made some notes. So we started meeting in February of this year, concluded with the study committee formally meeting once every other week in April. And then staff continued to work based on the objectives that the study committee handed down to begin to work on evaluating what the opportunities were to permit murals in the city. And so just, as we recap, Mayor Pro Tem Witten summarized, the folks that were involved in the group, and it was a pretty extensive group, and we met, again, we met through June on evaluating these alternatives, and I'm going to go through some of the things we've touched on. The objectives were key in the focus of our efforts as we went through this, and these are the objectives that the study committee summarized after the meetings and hearing from places like the City of Montgomery, from the AO Tourism and the museum here in town, and then also we studied at least 6 other municipalities who had address murals and community art through their zoning ordinance, and also city code through having different types of art commissions. So in these objectives were 1, to remove murals as a prohibited sign. 2, to review and amend as necessary the definition of a mural. Review the zoning ordinance for other related definitions that would be linked to murals and signs, and to consider limitations of murals in single-family residential zones, confirm public nuisance and obscenity text regulations will apply to murals, and to consider a definition for graffiti. And most of these I'm going to touch on in the presentation, but I do want to touch on real quickly the component of limitations on single-family residential zones. So that became problematic as far as when we started drilling into what we legally could and couldn't do related to the regulations, and trying to limit to different zones became more problematic. So our recommendation would be, not to, deal with that. If we permit murals, they would be allowed in the same context. We cannot regulate content. I may say that numerous times tonight, but that is a key component to what we can and cannot do related to regulation of murals. And again, a lot of the neighborhoods will have covenants that would have restrictions as well to cover some of that. As far as the definition of graffiti, we did not add a definition of graffiti. We discussed it quite a bit, and it really kind of played into some considering graffiti as art, and some communities having designated areas for people to paint graffiti and it's art. So what we settled on was the fact that if someone has property and invites people to paint something on the wall and paint their graffiti on the wall, then that's their expression, that's their art. If someone did not invite them and they painted on there, then it's vandalism and trespassing, and they can prosecute. Same goes with the city if we did not invite it. So that's where we left that, and obviously if you want us to drill into that more so after this presentation, and we can. So getting into the recommendations, again, the straight up first thing was to deal with the definition of the mural. Our zoning ordinance as it is has murals defined as a sign. So one of the key first things we would have to do to legalize murals in Auburn would be to strike that definition as a sign, and then to create a definition in the zoning ordinance under the definition section 203 that would define a mural as a graphic or work of art that is painted or drawn on an exterior wall and is a representation of a creative idea that is expressed in form and manner as a primarily provide aesthetic enjoyment for the viewer rather than convey a commercial message. The key point being the commercial message. If it conveys a commercial message, it's a sign and will be regulated as such. So that's the key change on that. The next proposed text amendment is we recommend changing the definition for commercial sign since that is tied into some of the discussion we're having as far as the relationship between a mural and a sign, is just to simplify that a little more, just a commercial sign being a sign with any commercial message. Proposed text amendment for providing a definition of a sign. Since we couldn't find one in our zoning ordinance, we recommended that we add a sign definition to at this time. And straightforward, since we've would propose removing definition of mural as a sign, is to strike murals as a prohibited sign. So those are pretty straightforward as far as what would change what we have today and make murals permitted by right in the city. And so and again, in doing so, that would permit anyone that wanted to paint a mural that they could make that investment and do so. And the only caveat is if it has a commercial message it's conveying, then it has to be regulated by our sign ordinance. So obviously, one of the things we have to look at is how will we be able to enforce and protect the citizens and protect our image in the community, and through the recommendations of what we can do by enforcement. It's fortunate we can without having to write a lot of new regulations dealing with enforcement, we can actually tap into the regulations we have, which enables us to enforce murals from the obscenity component, the Alabama Anti-Obscenity Enforcement Act. So again, we can enforce there through our inspection services. Dealing with public nuisance, we can deal with a mural in the same way we would deal with a public nuisance today. Obviously a little bit different from what we have, and I guess you may ask, well, how can a mural be a public nuisance? Well, it could be a public nuisance if it's something that's real busy, that's attracting and distracting drivers on a busy road, busy intersection, causing accidents. That can become a public nuisance. One image I saw that was a 3D image painted of a tunnel, and someone tried to drive through it once and found out it was a brick wall. So that could become a public nuisance. So things like that are just just in general to consider that yes, that could be portrayed as such. And then with the maintenance code, the city's code for maintenance would enable us to be able to enforce and make sure that the murals that are applied can be maintained properly. So that gives an overview of what is the simplest form in order to enable and allow and permit murals. And I can't stress enough the component which I've mentioned before, and I told you I'd say it a couple of times, is where we get into looking at regulations for murals, is the fact that we cannot prohibit or we cannot regulate content. And that's actually driving the need to make some additional changes to our sign ordinance, which we've already begun looking at and will be prepared to bring to the Planning Commission at some point in the future. We did not want to bring those regulations with the murals because this was the focus of the study committee, and we felt like it's best that focus stay intact. But looking ahead, the study committee recommends that as the city moves forward into Auburn 2040, that consider having a subcommittee that enables citizens to engage in the discussion and potentially consider goals for community art in general. And that could be public art on public property. That could be how we would address private art. And in doing so, the study committee felt it important to note that while the city don't necessarily always get credit for some of the art, we do have a lot of art within the city that gets noted, and a lot of people get their picture made at the War Eagle Wall. And while that's technically on private property, it's folks enjoy getting their picture made, particularly around graduation. The Tiger Trail is another component of art that we have in the community. The Tumors Corner itself was a heavy investment form of art in the center of the community. We have a lot of programming through our Parks and Recreation program that are in place now, in addition to discussions of how we might incorporate GIS layer and have some interactive maps to locate public art in and around Auburn. That would be very similar to what we already have in place for Tiger Trail, is where you can go online and find your Auburn heroes. So in summary, as I mentioned, that there will be a future look ahead at a sign text amendments, as a result of some Supreme Court action over the past year or two, and that'll come later. But we didn't want to separate, or we did want to separate the focus on murals from those other general changes that will have to occur. So that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
For Mr. Parsons, Ms. Witten, y'all were involved in this. I'll open it up to either one of you if you have additional comments or questions before the rest of the council.
Thanks, Scott. That's a great presentation and representation of the discussion. We centered on trying to be reasonable, and I think we found just that right note. So I'm pleased with where we are with it, and I look forward to the scrutiny that it faces on down the line.
Will you walk us through a timeline of how we go about adopting these changes so that they can eventually go into effect, hopefully if it's of the wish of the body of the council?
I will. The aggressive schedule would be, assuming that it is the council's wishes to do so, we would move forward with bringing these text amendments to the Planning Commission for the September meeting. So there will be a public notice obviously required for that, and it would be there would be a Planning Commission work session anticipated for September 5th, and that's their Monday, it'll be at the end of their Monday packet meeting. And then they would hear, the presentation from staff as far as what these text amendments would be. And then the September 8th is their regular Planning Commission meeting, and again, that would be their first opportunity to hear and vote on those. And if they pass those and recommendations to the council for those text amendments, that would then come to you for your first hearing at your second meeting in October 18th. And so that would be the aggressive schedule, potentially seeing those. And if, it could drift into November, depending on how much discussion, debate that there could come from that.
So with the 5th being Labor Day, would they push that packet meeting to?
They would
the
change
6th?
that, yes.
Okay.
I didn't check that, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
And then also note that it's still not effective when you pass it, it's effective upon publication, which is usually the following Thursday or so. It's about 10 days later. So just a reminder to everyone.
Yeah, very good point.
So Megan, walk us through do you just need a general consensus from us to move forward?
Well, and this is, you're sending something that rose to you, just, a lot of public sentiment about it. And of course, Planning Commission, absolutely, as you appoint them, if they see something else that was potentially missed or something else they want to address, they would bring it up at that time. But, if the council is good with sending this, just a general consensus is fine, because your official action would not come until the second meeting in October, in whatever form it comes to you in.
All right. Any other questions from the council or comments from the council?
I do have a question. This really comes from a situation that happened on Opelika Road. And am I correct to assume that this study came from I guess it's the
Beds Express.
Beds Express, yeah.
There was a lot of public outcry because of that. There are still a lot of other issues associated with that particular case, but the public discussion about murals from at least the city manager's lens began at that time, when some people were concerned as to why a mural was not allowed.
Is there any way we could give that building some grace by?
We cannot legally. So the mural is covered right now. They were denied a variance at the Board of Zoning Adjustment, and technically the mural has to go away. Because this is being studied, our ask was, and one of our city attorneys is here, in order to meet the law, the mural couldn't be visible. So instead of asking the property owner why this is being studied to paint over it, we requested that they just keep it covered. And the property owner has since reached out saying, where are you with this? But the answer is, as of today and until such time as the council changes the law and the law is published, it is in violation of our ordinance and cannot be visible. And we don't get a choice in that. We can't give exceptions to it. It is the law and we have to enforce it. And I know that's a hard pill for some people to swallow. We just don't get a legal choice to pick and choose what laws we do or don't enforce.
Can it go back before the BZA again?
If the law is passed and the zoning ordinance changes and upon the day the ordinance is published, if it's a legal mural, then it can be uncovered and that's the end of it, as far as the city's concerned.
I mean, between now and this October ruling or whatever?
No, it cannot be reconsidered at the Board of Zoning Adjustment.
Yep.
It's already been ruled upon. Mr. Foote?
Yeah, they already made a decision on that, and, you know, even the timeline, I don't even know if it would allow it to, well, they've made a decision, they denied the variance. So I think this is the best route, because the variance would more than likely be turned down again.
Yeah, there's specific reasons why you can go back. There has to be a hearing as to that something has changed, and that's not going to be any faster at this juncture based on deadline dates and so on. It would have to come to their next meeting. We might be past the dates. Then they would have to agree to rehear it. Then there's a lot of steps in the process. And so typically this changing the law is better. But remember, a variance is for a hardship created by the land.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's only for a hardship, not because it's something we would like to do. If we would like to do something, we should change the rules. And that is very much what this council is considering at this time, is saying we as a council maybe think we need to change this. And so we send it back to Planning Commission. It comes back to you and you change it, if that's what you want to do.
All right, any other further questions or comments? Anybody on the council?
Again, I just would like to say thank you to the staff, a great body of work, and to the study group for all the time and the conversations. And I think there's some really good next steps that you've presented. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
So Megan, to move this forward, as Ms. Witten was alluding to just a second ago, what do you need
I
from the
just say general
council to?
consensus, unless 5 of you object to sending it to Planning Commission to take a look at it, will come back to you for your official consideration, likely in October.
Okay, is the council good with moving this forward?
I've got
Everybody
a question.
comfortable?
I've got a question on
Sure.
some logistics moving
Yep.
forward, assuming this all is codified and we move on. Is there going to be or any thought to a ruling body that would decide what's appropriate and what isn't? And if that's the case, where does that conversation begin?
So I may have Mr. Cummings and Mayor Pro Tem Witten speak to that a little more. They discussed that a little bit. So that's one of the challenges. I think the committee could come into whether or not you're going to see that on a public building. From a free speech choice, it is very hard to regulate content beyond on a private building, beyond the parameters that Mr. Cummings gave you. Am I missing something, Scott?
He tap danced around it, and I was just trying to get back.
Yeah, no, it's if that's what you need, say, go ahead.
That sums it up very well. It's, we can't regulate the content of what goes on there if it's on a private building. Yeah, that's.
If it's not a sign and it becomes a mural, then it is art and,
So there, right now, and I understand we're talking about hypotheticals,
sure.
but in our hypothetical we're discussing tonight, there's no regulatory body to approve or disapprove on private property.
No, but I not at all. I do think as an outcome of the 2040 process, as it gets studied a little bit further, and art in public places, including public buildings, and I'm in deep love with the Wright Street parking deck as is, but it has some walls, and we tried hard to put a lot of openings. But if a mural were to be proposed on the very small spaces, because we do have a Target going up and there's an alleyway there, and people may decide, okay, we want a mural there. If it's touching our property, that's going to be up to the council unless you appoint a committee as to whether or not,
understand. Our
Yeah,
as
but on
property
private
owner, we
property,
would regulate what goes on our property, but what about
we
a
don't.
James
And
Warehouse on?
yeah, no, there isn't. And, I do have to remind, there are licensing and trademark and other things that go with anything going on private property. It'd be up to the private property owner. But from a content perspective, because we're switching to art from sign, there would be no regulatory mechanism other than the nuisance and or vulgar things, as Mr. Cummings outlined. And even that, our Stephen Clay is here from the city attorney's office, but he'll nod or shake his head the wrong direction, is we have to be very careful about what we even deem as vulgar, inappropriate, or a nuisance. So Scott mentioned a tunnel. There are things in our sign ordinance that keep a lot of flashing bulbs and other things from distracting drivers. That's something that would be a nuisance if we think it's going to cause car accidents, and we can prove that of concern with experts, we would do that. But yeah, this is why I was the last person in 2009 sitting in a very different staff position that was on the sign committee dealing with this, and that's one of the things the committee could not agree on in 2009 was if we don't allow them, then we don't have to regulate them or worry about the nuisance side. And that, again, that is just really up to the pleasure of the council and the planning commission, how they feel about that and what they think is best for the community.
It's an important point.
Absolutely.
So,
Any other questions or
Send us a
comments?
link to these state references, please.
Sure.
Okay, thank
Send you
you.
a link, and then just for everybody watching, this will be posted on the website on our council, auburnalabama.org/agenda. It'll populate by tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, so we were talking about moving this forward. Everybody on the council okay to move this forward? Remand
Yes.
this over to the planning commission and let them begin doing their work. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for everybody that participated in working on this. We appreciate your efforts and to get us this far. All right, are there any questions on tonight's agenda for the city manager?
Mayor, if I may, you just have a replacement agenda in front of you. It's because we had a resignation on the Indian Pines Recreation Authority, Bob Norman, and so we're announcing the vacancy and that you'll be appointing in September. And then also, I have a change in the Resolution 8I. We had some changes to the Ward 1 voting precinct where we had to change the chief inspector to James Newton and remove his spouse, Janet Newton, at her request. She has a conflict that day, and he was the chief clerk, and now Yvonne Harris is going to be the chief clerk, and that's what's on your replacement resolution. And this isn't uncommon when we get past this point. If we have to make a change in poll workers, we do have the authority to make it, but generally speaking, out of the gate, the council approves it.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for the city manager? If not, do we have a move to adjourn?
Do we know if the microphones are working for online?
Yeah, they have been the whole time.
Okay.
They only didn't work when ours started working and theirs didn't, but that's all fixed and has been. Everybody's heard the whole meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Move to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, we are adjourned, and it is after 6 o'clock, so we will call to order the Auburn City Council meeting for August the 2nd, 2022. The roll call, Lindsay?
Dawson.
Here.
Dixon.
Here.
Griswold.
Here.
Hovey.
here.
Parsons.
Here.
Stevens.
Here.
Taylor.
Here. Here.
Here. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. It is the first meeting of the month, and we'll begin with our video recognizing our outstanding employees here at the City of Auburn. We're proud today to introduce you to our August City of Auburn Employee of the Month. I have a memorandum here from Becky Richardson, our Parks and Rec Director, written to Keith Williams, our Executive Director for Public Services, to Megan Crouch, our City Manager. Montavious Ray began working for the City of Auburn as Parks maintenance worker in 2013. Monte has proven to be a valuable employee who takes ownership of his responsibilities. He is always looking for better ways to achieve goals set for each park, and he works well with his team to achieve the ultimate goal of making Parks and Rec facilities inviting and attractive. He values being a part of the City of Auburn and can be seen attending many city events with his family. He relates well to the public who use our facilities and often relays their concerns to his supervisors. He understands the uses of our various parks, such as Town Creek Park, the new inclusive playground, and Dennius Park, and the differences in duties for each of these. He works well with our temporary employees and spends time training them on how to perform specific tasks. He is also willing to do whatever is needed to make sure that a job at a facility is complete. He can often be seen using an edger or a blower and works with the newer employees to improve their skills. All of his crew feels that they are a big part of whatever is done at their parks. He also enjoys learning new skills himself. He has served as a host for groups touring the parks several times and is excellent in talking to them about the parks and what crews do. I recommend him for our Employee of the Month. Congratulations, Monte. We're proud of you and thankful for you. Today, we're proud to introduce you to Chad Jones, who will be receiving an Employee Achievement Award. Today, I also have a memorandum from Allison Frazier, the Engineering Services Director, and the City Engineer, written to Megan Crouch, our City Manager. It is my pleasure to nominate Chad Jones, Traffic Technician, for an Achievement Award. Chad has been working to develop and expand his knowledge of sign maintenance rules and regulations since accepting his position of Traffic Technician. He recently took on and conquered the challenge of earning the Signs and Pavement Markings Technician Level 1 certification from the International Municipal Signal Association. IMSA is the most trusted name in public safety and offers certifications in fields not offered by any other agency or educational institution. The certification program provides an introduction to the latest technology, materials, and rules and regulations that are used for the installation and maintenance of signs and pavement markings on today's roadways. Accepted industry standards and practices are covered in detail, as well as tort and risk liability, which is critical to not only keeping our citizens safe, but also protecting the city from lawsuits. Upon completion of the coursework, the certification is issued only after passing a comprehensive and rigorous test. Chad's work ethic, knowledge, and expertise are superior to those found in other municipalities and contribute to what makes Auburn such a special place to live and work. I am pleased to nominate Chad Jones for his achievement in earning his certification. Congratulations, Chad. We appreciate all your hard work. Okay, congratulations to all of our employees, and we appreciate everything that you do. Special congratulations to Montavious Ray for being our Employee of the Month, and all the best to Darcy Warnett as he moves into retirement.
Mayor, if I may,
Absolutely.
I know Darcy's not here tonight, but I worked a number of years with him at the city. Was our risk manager at the city for the most part of it, and I had my share of lawsuits, believe it or not, that I was involved in, and Darcy was always on the ball or catch a lot of things that need to be caught, and we're very fortunate to have a man of his caliber working here at the city of Auburn, and he will be missed. And just want to say how much I appreciated what he did for the citizens of Auburn throughout his career.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. During the Committee of the Whole tonight, we had a presentation from the committee that was evaluating murals in our community. We want to certainly thank all of those people who were involved in that. Thank you, Mr. Cummings, for your presentation here tonight. And the City Council has decided to turn this over to the Planning Commission, the Planning Department, and allow them to begin putting together rules and regulations to be voted on and to be considered as we move forward with the mural policy for the city. Under Mayor's announcements tonight, I do have a number of things, so I ask your patience. This Friday is one of the most special events that I've ever been able to be a part of here at the City of Auburn. It's our firefighter graduation ceremony. I encourage any of you that have some time that can fit in the room down there at the Municipal Court Chambers to come and celebrate these young people that have gone through this program, and they're graduating this Friday. It's a very, very special ceremony. And speaking of special ceremonies, this past Friday we had our dedication ceremony for our new inclusive playground, and what a wonderful spot for our community that is blessing and benefiting so many of our families here in Auburn. And last Friday was a very special dedication. I thank everybody that participated and made that happen. We were very proud to be out there. I want to thank the SGA. We had a breakfast with them last week, and as we look forward to our students coming back to town here very, very soon and changing our world and creating more traffic, but we can't do it without them, so we're proud to have them back. The East Alabama chapter of the Alabama CPAs invited me to participate in a lunch with them recently, and I appreciate their invitation. And Tyler and his staff at the library invited me over to be a part of his Hometown Heroes program, and I appreciate, Tyler, you introducing the children that participate in that program to those folks in our town that are trying to work to make the place a little bit better. So thank you for doing that. There are a number of voter forums that are going on right now, and in general, I just want to say all the best to those people who are running for office. It is a very taxing process, and they are giving up their time and sacrificing away from their family a lot of times and sometimes from work to run. But there are a number of voter forums that will be coming up in the near future, and I encourage all of you to be informed about those and to go to the voter forum that is in regard to your ward and get more informed about those people who are running to serve you here on this city council. Also, this past week, actually last week, the Auburn City Schools had their back-to-school breakfast for their new teachers. And what a hopeful time that is to see these new faces who are coming to serve our children here at Auburn. There were 94 new teachers, and we're very excited about as they prepare to start school next week. The turnover is less than 10% in our school system. I think that speaks to the kind of culture and leadership that we have within our school system. I appreciate the other council members who were there that day. We also last weekend recognized and welcomed our Special Olympics national athletes back to Auburn. The 5 of our young people, 5 of our Special Olympians from here in our community went to Orlando during the summer and participated in the national competition. They all won medals, and we were all very proud of them, and we had a great ceremony for them over at Dean Road this past week. I want to say thank you to the Philanthropy Education Organization for having me out recently. This is an outstanding group of women who are trying to raise money and be assistants to those women who want to start careers and start their own businesses. So thank them for having me participate and be a part of their program recently. I'm very proud tonight, and I'm proud to recognize our city for again winning an award, the Leading the Way Award. This is from the organization that does our citizen survey. We are compared to communities all over the country. And this is very unique for the city of Auburn to be a return winner of this recognition. And all of us, I hope all of you will go online and see the criteria that they use to recognize our community. And again, we're very thankful to live in Auburn. And I want to thank our staff and our city manager and the leadership of all of our departments for making this happen. All of you make Auburn special, and I'm proud that you were recognized. Tonight also, as we sit here, is the National Night Out is going on campus at the Red Barn, and I want to thank all of our public safety leadership and professionals for being over there. The National Night Out is an awareness program for public safety programs, crime prevention, health education, and youth programs. And so thankful to Auburn University for allowing that to happen on campus tonight. But we hope they're having a great time, and there's a lot of camaraderie with all those groups coming together. That's all my announcements. Does anybody else on the council have an announcement they'd like to make?
I do, Mayor, if I may.
Please.
It's not really city business, but it kind of is. But I would like to wish my husband a happy 25th wedding anniversary, which is today. And so instead of going to dinner with him, I'm here serving in my official capacity. And that is part of the sacrifice that our families make from time to time, is having to forego and postpone. I will say, though, we've celebrated greatly over the last weekend. But anyway, just wanted to say thank you, and hopefully have many, many more. So.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
Many of you may already know that I'm employed by the City of Opelika Fire Department, and last week in the City of Opelika we had a structure fire in our downtown, and we had a total loss of a restaurant by the name of Mafia's. And on behalf of Fire Chief Boyd from Opelika, I'd like to extend our deep thanks to Chief Langford and Battalion Chief Dow Sport. We called mutual aid at about 2 in the morning. Auburn, without hesitation, sent us a ladder truck and about 20 personnel, and it was much appreciated. Their efforts made a significant difference to the outcome of that particular incident. We were about spent on the fire ground, our staff, and it was such a relief to have 20 fresh people show up with the equipment that was enabled us to get so much water onto that structure that it saved all the neighboring buildings, and it was a significant, successful outcome. Opelika and Auburn fire departments and public safety in general have a very special relationship. We're friends, we know each other, we know each other's families, and Chief Boyd wants to assure you that we are ready to respond anytime you call. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons, and I received a note from Chief Boyd and actually a note from Mayor Gary Fuller as well, thanking Auburn for their participation. So it's great to know that our professionals can work together when they need to. So sorry for the loss in Opelika. Okay, anyone else? Okay, we'll move forward to Auburn University Communications.
Good afternoon, everyone. So first, like Mayor Anders mentioned earlier, we just want to say thank you for City Breakfast. We appreciate y'all's time and your commitment to Auburn students when you know. So moving on to announcements, we had Tiger Takeoff July 14th through 16th. And what Tiger Takeoff is, it's a 2-day program through Auburn University's Office of Inclusion and Diversity and the Division of Enrollment Management. And basically, they invite rising seniors from underrepresented high schools across the state to come in and learn about leadership, networking, and everything Auburn. Next, Auburn University is now opening their applications for fall and summer of 2023 as of August 1st. Last year, we had a record number of applicants, and they decided to open it earlier this year. And that's about all the announcements we have for today, but we do start classes on August 16th, and we're really excited for another great year. More you, y'all.
Yep, thank you. We look forward to having y'all back. All right, we'll move forward to citizens' communications on items on tonight's agenda. Remember, this is just for items that are on our agenda. If you'd like to speak to the city council, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record, and you will have 5 minutes to speak to the council. Anyone? Okay, we'll move ahead with the city manager's communications.
Under City Manager's Communications this evening, we have the announcement of several vacancies. One vacancy on the Lee County Youth Development Center Board of Directors for a term that begins October 1st, 2022 and ends September 30th, 2026. I'll remind you, you just filled an unexpired term on that, and now that this is a term, a two-term person is completing their time. And then you also have one vacancy for an unexpired term on the Indian Pines Recreation Authority for a term that will begin upon appointment at your first meeting in September and end June 20th, 2023. We're just getting that posted. It will be posted in the morning, and that is because Bob Norman has resigned. He's moving out of the area.
Okay, thank you.
You ready for the consent agenda?
Please, let's move forward to the consent agenda.
All right. Does any council member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda and deal with that item individually?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am, 8D, please.
8D, okay.
D.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
8F.
F, 8F.
Okay.
And then 8G, 4 and 5, please.
All right, anyone else? Okay, we'll move ahead. 8D.
Item 8D authorizes a one-time lump sum cost of living payment through the Retirement Systems of Alabama to City of Auburn retirees. The total cost to the city of this payment is $131,770.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion second. We'll turn it over to you, Mr. Dawson, for any comments or
Want to
questions.
Abstain.
Okay, Mr. Dawson's abstaining. Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8F authorizes the transfer of lots 1, 2, and 3 of the Tucker Heights subdivision to the North Auburn Housing Development Corporation in order to facilitate the construction of 3 new affordable houses.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Ms. Taylor?
Just want, I guess the public and the audience to know exactly what is the Tucker Heights lot transfer?
What is it? So we're transferring 3 lots that are currently owned by the city of Auburn to the North Auburn Housing Development Corporation, because the city itself is not in the business of building homes, but a community development organization named the North Auburn Housing Development Corporation is, and that we are involved in that, and Mr. Davis can explain further, but that is, we've had 7 lots out there, 4 are completed, and this is the last 3. Mr. Davis?
We are certainly delighted to update the council. We're very pleased that we're getting close to the build-out of this subdivision. So there are 3 final lots that would need to be transferred to the North Auburn Housing Development Corporation so they can begin the construction. They're hoping to begin construction later this month once that transfer occurs. Those lots will, again, result in 3 homes for low-mod individuals, families. All 3 of those homes that's going to be built on those lots are already sold. So, and we have a waiting list after that.
In our meeting on Thursday, it was asked what was the cost of these housing. Can you give us a little update? Because I know from the meeting that you had at Boykin, the cost has went up a little bit. So if you don't.
Go ahead, Al.
Well, construction cost for us is not unlike the construction cost throughout the city of Auburn, as we've seen the housing, the cost of construction just to build a house anywhere in Auburn go up substantially. And that has impacted North Auburn Housing Development Corporation as they have tried to build out these houses. When we built Northwest Village, we were probably at 100,000 or less. By the time we started on the homes in Northwest, in Tucker Heights, we were that first house sold for about 130,000, and now we are right at 160,000, a little over 160,000. I can say though, even though we are at that price, the individuals that are all 4 of the individuals that will be new homeowners in the houses on Tucker are certainly able to afford the house. They still meet the low mod income limit, even though they may be at the little higher end of it. As we have seen them go through the closing processes on their new homes, actually most, if not all of them, in the end will pay about what they're paying now for their rent. So it's still worked out very well for these families and given them opportunity to own a home.
Mr. Davis had also shared some information with me based on appraised value. They do very well out of the gate. And so you're getting some equity beyond second mortgages and other things that are rolled in to help this happen. And so for the homeowners, they're winning when they close, which is also part of the goal of the program, is make sure they're getting some equity to continue to get ahead in the housing stock for them and to allow more homeowners to come in.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. As we move into the next 2 items that will be removed from the consent agenda, this involves a project that will be built on a piece of property that was formerly owned by my family. I have not participated in any of these discussions to this point, and I have actually physically removed myself from the dais, and I'll be doing that at this point in time, and I'll ask Mayor Pro Tem Witten to please take over from here.
Sure.
Mayor Pro Tem, you ready?
I am.
Item 8G4 authorizes a temporary shoring and anchoring right-of-way use agreement with the Robbins and Morton Group for the Graduate Hotel to be located at 212 West Magnolia Avenue.
Do we have a motion for approval?
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Item 8G5 authorizes a tower crane use agreement with the Robbins and Morton Group for the Graduate Hotel to be located at 212 West Magnolia Avenue.
Move for approval. Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, we'll get Mary Anders to return to the dais. Just a second here.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Before we move forward, I want to say congratulations to Tyler Adams. His certification of his election is one of our items on this agenda here tonight, and we look forward to working with Tyler in the future. Congratulations, Tyler. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries.
Under ordinances this evening, item 9A amends the City of Auburn's business license ordinance to add hospitality management program as a license type category and to set a license fee schedule. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with the vote on this evening?
I've got a couple of questions.
Sure. Go ahead, Mr. Hovey.
Did you move for approval yet? Was it just you introduced? We're good?
Just introduced
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Yeah, time for question. Right? We right?
You're past unanimous consent is what I'm asking. There's no objections.
Yes.
There we
Yeah.
go. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Hovey.
I speak up and throw everybody a curveball.
Yeah.
I'd just like to ask for some clarification on this. I had a few phone calls, and just for anybody paying attention, this is actually to bring us in alignment with state legislation recently passed that instituted a new designation,
That's correct.
and so we're not doing anything other than falling into line with state statute.
That's correct. So what happened was you adopted it, as the memo in your packet indicates, you had approved an alcohol beverage license for a variety of things going on at the brand-new Rain Culinary Center. And there's everything there from brewing to distilling to serving to tasting to what have you. And it was brought to our attention after you adopted that there's a brand-new category for that was passed in the most recent legislative session. Is that correct? And so, and actually the license that they were seeking is this very license. So they have yet to be licensed unless you adopt this category because our business license ordinance doesn't address it. So this is catching up to state law and something that came out of the last session.
Does this apply for all of the food hall participants, or will they have to get their own individual license? Does anybody?
Go ahead.
This is going to cover everything there.
So they'll all operate under one license?
And let me check with, Latrice Mose is here, our revenue manager. Is that correct? Am I saying that right? Yeah. So this is going to cover everything there.
And that's why when you saw the license come through, it was this massive license covering the property. And it seems to me this is actually an easier way on us too, so that the council is not adopting individual licenses, because the physical address is always a challenge with alcohol licenses as to what the premise is. And so it's covering the entire premise as defined in their license for all umbrella of alcohol beverage sales. So it makes it a little bit easier for us to deal with. Latrice. Yeah. So there's always a caveat. Whatever the state decides is we follow suit.
You good, Mr. Hovey?
I'm good. Thank
Okay.
you.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay. Roll call, Lindsay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Hovey,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Stevens. Yes. Taylor,
Yes.
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 I'm going to remind you as we roll into item 9B, we have to have a roll call vote on both unanimous consent because this involves a bond issue and, again, when you actually, if you choose to adopt. So I'll remind you in just a second again, but our bond counsel, Rod Cantor, advises we do this specific way. Item 9B authorizes the issuance of the city's general obligation warrant, Series 2022, in the amount of $62.18 million to finance various capital improvements and to refund certain outstanding warrants. Unanimous consent is necessary, and as a reminder, a roll call vote is needed for both unanimous consent and for adoption of the ordinance.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Have a motion, seconds. Anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? All right, seeing and hearing none, we will do the roll call for unanimous consent. Lindsay?
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Hovey,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Stevens. Yes. Taylor,
Yes.
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. At this time, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. This time we'll open discussion. And before the council might have any questions, Ms. Crouch, normally we ask Mr. Young when he's here with us, to join us tonight and give us a report on this, and I think that would be great for the council and our community.
Excellent. We have both Bob Young and John Mazik with us.
Sorry,
from
John, I
Fraser
didn't see
Lanier.
you back there.
So
Good to have you too, John.
that's because he's squished between Philip and
Yes.
Bob in there. There we go.
Mr. Young, we're proud to have you here tonight.
Thank you. We don't let John get out in public very often, so we're going to keep him in his seat over there. We had an outstanding sale on your issue. The true interest cost on your issue was 3.47%, and as was alluded to earlier, there were two purposes here. One was to refund your 2012 B issue. That refunding delivered a savings of $1,020,000. It's a reduction of approximately $100,000 per year over the next 10 years. And then the remainder of the issue was for the purpose of providing funds for $55 million for your capital improvements. Very importantly, I think, is to share with you all and those here tonight that the city continues to enjoy a superior rating. Both Moody's and Standard & Poor's have you rated in the AA category, and Megan and Allison and Philip accompanied us to New York for the presentation and carried on a tradition of doing a wonderful job of explaining the economics and demographics of the city and surrounding area, as well as your finances. I jokingly told one of the rating agencies that they should put a marker in front of the schools thanking the city for the economic development that is happening here. Each time a new industry comes into town or expands, they immediately receive cash from the property taxes, whereas the city must wait for 10 years. But it was a superb presentation, and I can tell you as an outsider what wonderful staff people you have here in Megan and her group. And they also were quick to praise all of your other department heads and the employees and the commitment that they make to making Auburn a wonderful city to live and work in. So you enjoy and appreciate what you have. It's outstanding. We see a lot of cities and counties around the state, and they envy what you all are doing and the accomplishments. So congratulations to you.
Thank you, Mr. Young. We appreciate it. Appreciate your support, your partnership, and your advice over the years. Same to you, John. All right, any other questions or discussion from the council regarding this? Okay, Lindsay with the roll call.
Yes.
Griswold?
Yes, ma'am.
Hovey?
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons?
Yes.
Stevens? Yes. Taylor?
Yes.
Mitten?
Yes.
Dawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Mayor, we do not have any resolutions this evening, so those are all the items of business we have on the agenda.
Sure. Thank you, Ms. All right, at this time, we'll open Citizens Open Forum. This is your opportunity to speak to the council about anything that might be on your mind. Excuse me. Remember, you have 3 minutes, and please address your comments to the council. Also, we need your name and address for the record.
Did you say 3 hours or 3 minutes?
I think you know.
I'm Robert Wilkins, 261 Denson Drive. I want to amend Ordinance 3288, and we would like to have some help on that. Councilwoman Taylor, you're allowed in your home to have short-term rental. I am not allowed to have short-term rental, and I've tried to figure out what makes your home different from my home, and why you should be allowed and I should not. So there's some things that I still continue to try to understand. Council Griswold, I had a meeting set up with you and our illustrious city manager, who said she was self-proclaimed CEO, said that I could not meet with you at all. And I realize it's concerning the lawsuit, but the problem is you're not in the lawsuit, nor is Ms. Taylor, nor is, the two people that are in lawsuits are Ron Anders and Beth Whidden. So I can understand why y'all can't talk to me, but the rest of you can talk to me. And I wanted just to talk, and Mr. Griswold was so kind to say he wanted to talk and just kind of maybe work out something that would be feasible or something that we could at least discuss. And I believe that this idea of being silent for the next 5 months like you were the last time is not a good thing. So I think all of you can talk except for the two. The reason y'all are part of the lawsuit is just normal. You have titles, mayor and Mayor Pro Tem. I've known a lot of people who've gotten a lot of lawsuits, and that's just a normal way. My time is running out as usual. Also, Councilman Stevens, if you would look at the March 16th, 2021, and see what the person that you replaced, Brett Smith, who voted against the ordinance. It was a pretty nice thing at 3 hours and 5 minutes, and just kind of see what he said about his thoughts. Thank you for fighting for our rights, Councilman Dixon, myself, and other citizens. I believe you've been a great, brave effort. Councilman Parson, you said there are only 2 unhappy people. In the last few weeks, we have over 800 unhappy people now instead of 2. We have over 200 emails that have been sent to all of you council people. The silent majority has been stirred up, and there will be more. I don't know how many you need. I don't know if you need 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people. I don't know what it's going to take for y'all to amend this Ordinance 3288. I appreciate the effort that y'all put out, but we want to be on the agenda. We want to discuss things, and we want this amended hurriedly. Thank you.
Sir, thank you. Who would be next?
Can I make a comment, please?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Yeah, I agreed to meet with you, but it certainly was not on my intent to find middle ground or negotiate anything at that point. So I just want to clarify that the purpose of the meeting was to listen to you. Okay, thank you.
Who will be next?
Mayor Anders, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Herbert Walter DeMar Jr., 412 Opelika Road, apartment 111. My remarks this evening are in response to the mayor's earlier remarks on the National Night Out that took place this evening. There was, of course, you know about the one in Auburn. There was also one that was supposed to be scheduled in Opelika, the one that I was supposed to go to. That one got rained out. But I say that to thank all of you, the city of Auburn and Auburn University and the city of Opelika and concerned citizens for even raising the issues that National Night Out brings out, such as public safety, community safety, and related issues. The one that was scheduled in Opelika tonight is in the black community, or one of the predominantly black communities in Opelika, the area around Bandy Park. There is a public housing community also in that area, and it has experienced a lot of drive-by shootings recently. So, and that's the reason why some of us concerned citizens were there. And we would like to say that we will work with public safety in Auburn and Opelika and Lee County to help root out the violence and the causes of the violence. I think if we address the causes of violence more, we can do more to contain or stop the violence and make it a little easier on law enforcement. And we realize that, it's going to get tougher because of the new gun laws, particularly one concerning concealed weapons and permitless carry that will take effect New Year's Day. So I know the job's going to be harder. So on behalf of, as part of one of the organizations that addresses this issue, we will be happy to support the Auburn Police and the Opelika Police and Lee County to help address this issue, to stop this gun violence and any type of violence from becoming too much of an epidemic, if not a pandemic. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you.
And Mayor, just in case anybody was thinking to go to our National Night Out, right now we're in a lightning delay. It's like a sporting event. It's been suspended at this time due to the threat of lightning. So we're also on a holding pattern in the Auburn one.
Okay. Thank you. Who will be next?
After the meeting, okay. Okay.
Hi, folks. I'm Steve Cosgrove, and I'm in Ward 3, 1927 Watercress Drive. And number one, I want to, again, just express appreciation to each of you for your civic stewardship, for the loveliest village on the plains. Really do appreciate your time and your service and all. Bob, sorry about your loss. Mafia's was a really nice restaurant. It was a great piece of property, and really just sorry for that loss. I grew up in a Twin City in Illinois. I know what Twin City sister and brotherhood is about, and there's a loss there. And thanks for sharing that earlier.
Appreciate it, Steve.
In February, mid-February 1975, I stepped onto Felton Little Park for the first time. I knew I was in a special place. I had just started at Auburn University February 16th, 1975, so it was that week, literally 47 years and 6 months ago. And every place I've ever lived and traveled to and so forth, I've always found out the little community ballparks. There's something real special about community ballparks and community parks. And when I was walking out there, a freight train, was going from east to west. So as you face the tracks, obviously that's from right to left. And I'm from a railroad family. I'm one of the few head brakemen that you probably ever met. I was a head brakeman on the freight train of Illinois Central Railroad. My dad was a civil engineer for 42 years, and all of us worked on the railroad. So there was something special about it. As I was traveling, I looked at the head brakeman. Head brakeman's always on the left side of the engine, and the engineers, locomotive engineers, are on the right side. So I was looking at the head brakeman, and I did this little number, and he blew the whistle. Yeah, I know, got 1 minute. That's okay. And he blew the whistle. I knew there was something really special about that at that time. And the past 16 months, I've immersed myself into a really neat study. I call it the History and Honor of Felton Little Park Initiative. I've talked to over 100 people, thousands of hours, literally. And what I handed to Megan, a packet of materials going to go to each of you, Honorable Mayor, council members, Miss Megan, Miss Becky. It's a snippet of where this is at right now. But this is a fun thing. It could be a celebration sort of thing. Ron and I have talked a good bit about this, and I just wanted to bring that to you. And whenever we do something, hopefully maybe this fall.
Thank you, Mr. Cosgrove. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your enthusiasm. Thank you for caring, and thank you for your time. Who would be next?
Good evening. I'm Doug Cooper. I live at 1451 Payne Court. After graduating from Auburn, I began a 35-year career in sales and marketing, working with national, state, and local governments across the United States and in more than 20 foreign countries. This experience allows me to recognize a great government when I see it. The Auburn City government is simply a great government. It all starts with the city manager who gets things done and works every day to make Auburn an even better place to live. The city staff exhibits all the qualities needed to be great at their jobs. Complex issues are resolved in the best interest of all of our citizens. Auburn Police and Fire deserve nothing but accolades. I have worked with council members who provided much needed support as I address the concerns of my homeowners. In summary, Auburn has always been a great place to live. Our Auburn City government works on our behalf each and every day to make it even better. Thanks for all that you do.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Who would be next? I know somebody was standing up just a second ago.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. My name is Julia Pearson, and I live at 1125 Eagle Circle. And I've never been to a city council meeting in Auburn before, but I can't tell you how proud I am as a citizen of the great work that you're doing. And I'm very thankful for each of you. I don't know if you guys have heard the old Paul Harvey speech of look for the helpers, and I definitely feel like there's a room of helpers. I am reaching out to you tonight just to share my experience as a resident and unknowingly breaking an ordinance of 3288 as a homeowner. I felt as though I was providing a service to our community, as most of the individuals that stayed in our home were actually Auburn residents. Tonight, I think it's unique that there was a discussion about the murals, because actually some of the workers that worked on some murals here were actually stayed in my home. I had a soccer player that stayed in our home that was an athlete here at Auburn that couldn't use her stairs anymore and was there with her family. I had a family that came to visit their very homesick daughter, and they asked for a Dutch oven to make chicken dumplings. I had a business owner that stayed in my home during COVID, and she didn't want her team members to come into her home, and it was a place of meeting. And I had families that gathered together for funerals and for other gatherings of weddings and get-togethers. And I was proud and honored to provide that service to our local citizens, friends, and neighbors. And it was a hobby for my husband and I as we created memories and good experiences for our families to be safe in a clean environment and comfortable. And I also want to share that also my neighbors used my home during this time and never had a complaint about using it, because we were very careful with who we offered our home to and invited, because we love our neighbors. Just like we enjoyed the families that stayed in our homes, we've made good relationships with. And they've reached out to me to see if they could use our home again, but unfortunately I can't do that. But I'm very thankful for the time that I had. It was a good experience for my family and I, and for our neighbors. And I would like you just to reconsider and keep an open mind about what we can offer, not only to our families, but to our businesses by keeping those dollars here. Thank you.
Thank you. Who will be next?
Good evening. My name's Tracy Streetman. I live at 605 South Gay Street. Me, as a resident of Auburn, I'm a third generation homeowner of 605 South Gay Street. My grandparents went before the committee at that time, the city council, to have that residency deemed as rental property. And as a young child, my grandparents had research professors come and stay. At that time, it was no short-term rental. It was the quarter system, not the semester system. And I, too, have had people in my home. And I just hope that you guys would really consider what we bring to the table. We do cherish our homes. We open our homes to people. We get to survey who we let in our homes. And it is for grandparents, for parents of students that come here, and they love our city, and our city is great. I was born and raised here, and I just really wish that you guys would reconsider. There is a limit of the age that people can rent, and I personally talked to all of the people that have rented at my home. And I am a law-abiding citizen, and I just really wish that you guys would reconsider. There are great people out there that love our city and would love to have a family environment to cherish with their students, with their people that they have here in Auburn. And it is a lovely village on this plain, and I really wish that you would really consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Streetman. Thank you for your service to our children. Who will be next?
Good evening. Susan Bolt, 1188 East University Drive. I've been speaking to your constituents regarding the short-term rentals in the city of Auburn, all ages, races, residents, and visitors. The overwhelming numbers, not even close, want to allow short-term rentals everywhere. In a very short period of time, over 800 signatures were gathered and 200 emails were sent to the City Council in favor of short-term rentals everywhere. The most popular question I received was, why did they do this? I couldn't provide them with a reasonable explanation. As explained by the city attorney in March of 2021, short-term rentals don't violate the no more than 2 unrelated occupancy rule, since there is no intent to reside. He also explained that a 2012 Alabama Supreme Court opinion stated that short-term rentals are not commercial use. As explained by the city manager in March 2021, short-term rentals were not illegal. So the city and the city council created an ordinance with arbitrary restrictions to deprive some citizens of their property rights. This is a right protected by the 14th Amendment. To own property freely is why we all go to work and acquire property, and property rights are a founding principle. Our founding fathers understood the importance of this freedom. We are not a democracy in the United States. There are no governmental limitations on a democracy, which is why our founding fathers established the United States of America as a republic, which has governmental limitations and is ruled by law. And to the republic for which it stands. You all said that pledge again tonight. Rick Davidson gave an update on 7/5/22. There are 24,000 households. I added an 80,000 population. 33 citations to date. 151 homes were targeted to zone out the short-term rental activity. That's less than 0.5% of the 24,000 homes that he cited. There was not a problem before the ordinance that couldn't be handled with ordinances on the books. Is the city conceding that they couldn't enforce the already existing ordinances regarding trash, traffic, and noise? The city hired 2 people to entrap short-term rental hosts. Why not shift those resources to enforce those ordinances regarding trash, traffic, and noise that were already in existence? Some of you have mentioned that you made promises to people about not allowing short-term rentals. There is honor in admitting that you didn't have all the information at the time of your promise. And now that you do, the honorable thing to do is correct this mistake and honor the rights of all citizens of Auburn.
Thank you, Ms. Bolton.
Thank you. I ask y'all to amend that ordinance.
Who will be next?
Hey, good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. I'm Ken Pearson at 1125 Eagle Circle. So I'm one of those 33. I had no idea I was in violation of anything, and I'm the other half, probably not the better half, of my wife who spoke first. So we embarked on just an adventure that we thought would be fun. It's time for me to gut a house and teach our boys how to do a lot of that stuff, right? So what was funny is I had to explain to them I had to go to court. And they're like, why? Like, well, I broke the law. Like, Like, what'd you do? Like, we just swung a hammer. So, I'm a data geek. I, by profession, worked for Microsoft, a bunch of companies, so I like to look at a lot of data. And when you look at the data around what would drive this, is it lawful? Is it to avoid crime? Like, why wouldn't you want that in a neighborhood? Well, I couldn't understand that, because when I looked at the data and I started looking at the map that lays out the way we drew lines in the city, so I won't remember whose house could or couldn't, but yours can and I can't, we're on the same street. Your house, the line goes right through it, so does the left side of your house get to and the right side you don't. So when I started looking at all the data, I wasn't really sure what the intent was. I get friendly neighborhoods, maybe that means less crime like I mentioned. But the idea of providing a service, I mean, whether you're a data geek or whether you're a relationships person, and I've been in the industry I've been in for 33 years, traveled all over the world. So culture, relationships are critical. So we're here to build relationships. Like my wife said, what was really interesting is the people that were there, they were there for their families. They weren't there to party. We didn't have any problems with parties. It's a neighborhood. Most people can't afford an Airbnb or a VRBO. If they were going to do that, they'd go to Super 8, right? They'd go party there, Motel 6. So your clientele, I think, is paramount. The result that someone who is looking to do short-term rentals is paramount. And what I would ask is that you look for that opportunity to provide that service. There's revenue, there's monetary value, and there's intrinsic value. So I think there's a good savings of both there. So I would just ask that you look to amend 3288. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. Who will be next? Okay.
Hello, City Council. My name is Josh Poole. I live at 334 Hickory Woods Drive. And I'm here also to support the amendment to amend 3288 in support of short-term rentals everywhere in town. My wife and I are avid travelers. We travel all over the world, and the first place we look whenever we're booking for a new place to stay is Airbnb or VRBO. That's the very first place we look, because we like to live within the community, within the locals, and meet those people, and we like to immerse ourselves in the culture that we're in, and we like to meet new people. And when you look at the map, Auburn doesn't provide that service, and it's incredibly, the current ordinance is incredibly discriminatory, and I think Ms. Witten's original proposal to amend the ordinance was fantastic. It was a great compromise. Unfortunately, that was torpedoed, and the current ordinance as it stands, again, is incredibly discriminatory, and it's unclear why STRs are targeted. So you can have people stay in your home for free, and that's totally fine. So I can have family or friends or even strangers stay with me, and that is no business of anyone else's but mine and my family's. However, if they pay me, it seems that's the problem. So I don't understand how piano teachers or people who repair computers out of their home or fix cars on the side, how that's allowed. So this is incredibly discriminatory, and it's also based on this extremely exclusive family definition that is also dated. And this also just goes to the city's retrogressive planning and vision. That the city seems to have no direct direction of where they want to go or what they're striving towards. It's just growth is good at all costs, and that is highlighted by Planning Commissioner Joe Astrup's comments of basically effectively saying no nature should be in town. And when we're trying to encourage people to come here, we're not providing them any services. We're a car-centric city, and we have discontinuous sidewalks, no public transit, and now we don't even provide them decent places to stay that are near campus. Most of these people coming is a transient city, but we're not providing them proper places to stay besides just hotels anywhere. And people like me that want to share our home aren't allowed to do that. And when I travel somewhere, I would rather stay with someone in their home instead of dealing with parking at a hotel or dealing with rowdy neighbors in the hotel or the costs that come along with that. So I, again, support STRs everywhere.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Who will be next? Okay. Okay. Yep.
Good evening, Council. My name is Billy Welburn, 112 North Bartleben Street, Apartment 5. I'm here on behalf of a fellow citizen who couldn't attend tonight. She spoke with me earlier about fireworks. Around 4th of July, a lot of folks were shooting off private fireworks. I was looking online to see what the city's policy on that is. My recollection is it's not allowed anywhere within city limits. And in error, I came across the city of Auburn, California, or Auburn, Washington, and their page mentioned that fireworks were permitted on certain hours on July 4th and certain hours on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I was thinking that it might be something worth exploring for our city. This friend who talked to me said that for about 6-day period, people were shooting off fireworks at random times. Her dog was freaking out. Many of us with pets sympathize, and not only that, but folks with sensory troubles or PTSD, fireworks aren't a great thing. So I was wondering if anyone could point me towards what the policy is and what the avenue is for making a suggestion to allow so that it's predictable and consistent for folks who don't like dealing with the loud noises. Thanks.
City Manager, is that something we could provide some information for?
It's in city code. It's been a long-standing thing. There are a lot of calls that come in on those nights, but I can tell you right now, the expectation that police can get to every address on 4th of July for every complaint received. And the city has its own fireworks show that makes a lot of noise that night as well. We in the university warn when we're doing it. We do certainly do the best that we can. It's the same with loud car stereos and truck mufflers. We get a lot of complaints about that too. We follow up as we can. I have not, in my tenure with the city, had any knowledge of anybody ever asking that we actually allow fireworks. But if that's something the council wants to explore, staff's happy to explore how that could work.
Who will be next?
Good evening. My name is Amanda Poole. I live at 334 Hickory Woods Drive. First, I just wanted to say thank you all for the service that you provide. I appreciate the time that you guys spend working for the citizens. I know it takes a lot out of your time, and it's appreciated. I've lived and worked in Auburn for more than 17 years now, and when you love something, you care about it and its future. The city's vision statement says it's committed to being an environmentally conscious community. I'd like to make sure that you're all aware of comments made by a member of the Planning Commission a couple of weeks ago. In response to a development hearing that was approved, Joe Astrup said, "We need to fill in all undeveloped areas in the city. Wooded areas need to be on the outskirts of town." This is not in line with the city's vision of being environmentally conscious. It's not acceptable to have someone on the Planning Commission with this view, and he's making decisions for development in our city. You all appoint the Planning Commission members, so I feel like this kind of comes back to you guys. I'd also like to thank Stephen and Bob for acknowledging my email. I sent an email to everyone a couple weeks ago, so thank you too for responding for that. And I have one more thing I'd like to speak about. I'd also like to talk about amending the short-term rentals ordinance. It's my belief that it should either be allowed in all neighborhoods or none. My husband and I have had wonderful experiences all over the world using Airbnb. We would love the opportunity to be hosts here as well. We would love to show our visitors the city. They would be staying in our home with us. We wouldn't just rent out our home. It would be an extra bedroom. So we would care who is staying in our home with us, sleeping under the same roof as us. So I just want to reiterate, I don't understand how it can be allowed in some neighborhoods, but then in other neighborhoods, it's deemed unsafe. I feel like that's just not a good thing to do for this city, and I would like you to reconsider the standing ordinance against short-term rentals. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Who will be next? Okay, is there a move to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, we are adjourned.